All right. Good evening. This is the interview for my missionary biographical sketch. I'm just going off of my PowerPoint on my phone and hitting a few points, overviewing it. The missionary I decided to look into was Don Richardson, and come to find out, beginning of his life, he is a Canadian missionary, grew up in Canada and went to Bible school in Canada. And it was the Bible school he went to was called Prairie Bible Institute, where he met his wife there, fell in love with her, and married her. They had a heart for the Lord, and he eventually called them into missions work, and their target nation or people was a tribe called the Sayi people, or the Sayi tribe, and at the time it was in Dutch New Guinea, or I believe what it is now considered Papua New Guinea. And this was a tribe that was cannibalistic, that had never had any real ties to the common world, or they were very much living off the land, and not in the cultural time of where they were at. They oftentimes praised corruption and betrayal, and so they it was in 1962 that him, Don, and his wife Carol, and their 7-month-old baby decided to go out there, where they would spend the next 13 years doing missionary work and relying on the Lord in that. And early mission work, talking about when they got there, they didn't have very much success at all. It took quite a bit of time for them to learn the language. It took quite a bit of time for them to understand the culture. The Saudi people, originally really only accepted them because they had tools, and Don's wife was a registered nurse, so she was able to bring medical care to the people that had never had medical care, and so they were suffering with illness, suffering with many different things that they were experiencing in the jungle there, and so they brought them into their tribe based on those things that they were able to offer. And so Don and his wife are honestly, from the first point, able to serve the tribes, as Jesus, served. And it's kind of beautiful when you look at it. Wars broke out among tribes, and this turned from weeks to months, was a continual issue and causing harm for them. And Don basically had to have a conversation with the leaders of the tribe that he was with, and trying convincing them to bring peace. Eventually they were able to bring peace, and they did that through in the tribes would be considered a peace child, where the chief of the tribe that Don and his family were living with took his own son and offered it as a peace treaty, basically, to the other tribe. And so as long as that child is alive, then they would have peace among them. And this obviously was pretty crazy, for us when we think about it. But what God did through that is he was able to open up a door to that chief, and Don was able to evangelize to him and really share the gospel that, God gave his son to us. And how crazy that sounds, but it brought peace for us, and what that did. And he was able to understand it, and he was their first convert. And so then they were able to go through and share the gospel and evangelize the rest of the tribe, and that turned into them being able to build a church or a chapel that would house everybody. And that man, the chief, ended up becoming one of the pastors there. And so when you look at achievements of his life, evangelizing the Sayi people was probably the biggest achievement. But along with that came him learning the language, came him bringing peace to the tribal wars, came them building a church for the tribe. It brought, he was able to write a book. He was able to, he had to, create a written language, and then create a dictionary for him to then be able to translate the New Testament for the tribe. And then he spent his later years preaching on missions and on, just Jesus and his experiences, and helping others in that sense. So yeah, this is my presentation. Thank you. Goodbye.